Hi, guys. Today on the podcast, it's not going to be super long one today, but I wanted to talk about some things that you've probably already started for the new year, but I figured it's still January, and before um, you start feeling like your New Year's resolutions aren't what they need to be, or just start feeling any certain way about your New Year's resolutions. I try not to make New Year's resolutions. I try to just do better than I did the year before. But I have some things that I want to share with you that might be a good idea to do this year if you struggle with New Year's resolutions like I do, especially the ones that are meant to to start you off on a health journey. I named this 12 easy healthy habits uh, to try implementing one per month. Now, and when I say healthy habits, I'm talking about physical body health, but I'm also talking about your spiritual health and your mental health. So it's not just about exercise and working out and doing healthy things for your body. So you have 12 months, and I suggest just adding one of these per month will make it a little bit simpler. Now, if you are like me and you struggle to drink water or any other fluids besides coffee, I tend to drink coffee all day long, and I have to force myself to get out of that and actually drink something besides coffee, because it can dehydrate your body and it can deplete you of certain things that your body needs if you don't drink other things besides coffee. So I suggest, just try adding 8 ounces of water to your lunch, uh, just to get you in the habit of changing up your habits. Now, what I do, and I did this when I was working full time. Now I'm working full time from home. But when I worked full time outside the home, what I did was I took my I left my coffee in my locker. Sorry, I can't talk this morning. I left my coffee in my locker and only drank my coffee um, during my breaks and during my lunch. One reason is because we really couldn't have those at on the floor in our. I didn't work in an office. I worked in retail, so we couldn't have that with us. We really were required to only have water. So I would always make a habit of mixing my bottled water with vitamin C powder. Uh, since the pandemic, of course, the vitamin C water and Propel powder. Those were my two go tos. And then I also started adding Metamucil just for gut health and just keeping that flowing, flowing regularly. And so those are the things that I drink once a day. Now that I work from home, I drink coffee up until supper time, and then that's what I drank with my dinner and the rest of the evening. And I may have some decaf later, but at least I get to drink. And I usually drink about 24 ounces now a day. So that's how I get my intake of water and fluids. It's still not water, but at least it's something that I'm drinking besides just coffee. So, you know, just try to figure out what time of day for you can you drink more water, or something, a healthier drink than soda, a healthier drink than just coffee all day. You may want to have an 8 ounce glass before breakfast, an 8 ounce glass before lunch, and an 8 ounce glass before supper. But whatever works for you, if you at least start with 8 ounces, that's a good place to start. And if you struggle with getting enough sleep at night, that can be stressful for your body. Try to at least start with 30 minutes. Start with going to bed about 30 minutes earlier than you usually do. Set a timer an hour before to get your kitchen cleaned up or your house picked up. Just set a timer so that you can set that 30 minutes of time aside for going to bed just a little bit earlier. And just like organizing, I'll call this organizing your health, because like anything, it has to be organized, it has to be planned, it has to be blocked in your calendar. You have to make time. And I know it's hard, but you can do it in bite-sized pieces, just as I say with decluttering or organizing. You start with a small little drawer, something that you won't take you very long and it's easy to get done, and it gives you a win. So these are easy things that you can try that will give you a little bit of success, and then you can just add on to it as you feel like you're capable of doing. And then in February, possibly. Now, you can do these, you can implement these any 12 months. These are just 12 ideas. You can implement them in whatever month you want. But if we're going to go into order, then my third idea would be February. Add a handful of vegetables to raw vegetables to your meal in the evenings. You probably already make an entree and a side dish, and you may just need to add a few more raw vegetables to your diet, and this is a good way to do it. Just one handful added to your plate with whatever you're eating for supper will just be just enough vegetables to get you into the habit. I started buying a whole veggie tray, and then I put everything in individual baggies, pull it out, and add a little bit of that to my meal every evening. And it gives me just a little bit of variety, because a veggie tray has broccoli, it has carrots, and it has these little red and orange and yellow peppers that I really, really love. And it has a really good dip. I do buy it at Sam's Club, so it just depends on where you're buying your veggie dip. And then we have ranch dressing anyway. But I just love that. And that way you have a variety of raw vegetables to add to your meal at supper time. It'd just be like adding a salad, but we added salads for so many years that we kind of got tired of the salads, so now we're just adding raw vegetables. Um, and you can do that with fruits too. It just depends on which thing you want to add a little bit more to your diet. That would be a great idea. And vitamins. If you're like me, I really struggle with remembering to take my vitamins every day. What I had to do when I was working outside the home is I literally had to have one of those little snack baggies. They were about like that big, and I would put my vitamins in there every night. Well, I'd actually put the whole week's worth of vitamins in there, and you can use a little vitamin, uh, a little container that divides out your vitamins. But I found the baggie easier because I had to literally tape it to my entree. That way, if I just threw it in my lunchbox, I still would forget. So I taped it to my container of chicken, the main dish that I was eating that day. I would tape it on there, and then put it back on there every day, every morning, so that I would remember, because I have to take my vitamins either with a meal or after supper, I can take it before I go to bed, because if I take it on an empty stomach, the vitamins make me nauseous. But if I take it right after eating a meal or before bed, then it doesn't make me nauseous. Um, so that is what I have to do. Now that I'm working from home, I have my vitamins on top of my microwave or by my stove. That way, when I fix my plate at supper, I also add my vitamins, and then I take it right after I eat. Because putting them on my side table next to my bed, that didn't work. It just didn't work. And I may have to move them around but I think once you get into a good habit, then you won't have to do that anymore. But yeah, I struggle with that. So that's a good way to, put those vitamins somewhere where you will remember to take them. All right, now this idea I came up with right as I was typing all of this up for this podcast, and I think it's a fabulous idea. Adding extra steps into your day, or adding a walking routine to your day. Now, I'm just talking about beginner steps, just to start a routine. If you don't already have one, if you already have an exercise routine or a walking routine, then you can add something else. You can step it up a notch. But for me, when my husband says, let's go for a walk or let's take the dog for a walk, I will go with him. But I do not have a walking routine. And I thought of this for those that work outside the home. As soon as you come home from work, don't even unload your car, because you're not going to go far. So no one, once it's in your driveway, the amount of time you're going to be walking, no one's going to break into your car for that amount of time. Just get out of your car and do one lap around the block. That way, if you can do that every day, as soon as you get home from work, just take one lap around the block. You're getting some type of walking in every day. Now I work from home, so I'm going to have to, my husband and I are just going to have to step it up a notch on our walking routine, and start walking on a regular basis. But we do walk almost 3 miles when we do walk. And we do it at least once a week. We should be doing it every night. But like I said, baby steps. Start where you can. So you can walk around the block as soon as you pull into the driveway at the end of your workday, or every morning when you wake up before you start supper. You can, you can figure out a time to just walk around the block. One lap around the block. And once you get that habit established, then you can walk 2 blocks, 3 blocks around the house, around, you can add to that. But this is just something simple for those that don't have a routine set for these 12 things. Here's another healthy idea. If you tend to overeat, start making your plate on a dessert plate instead of a dinner plate. And don't pile it, because this plate is smaller. Don't go back for seconds. Make your meal on a dessert plate so that you're not tempted to fill your dinner plate with too much food. It's just a way to cut back on your intake of food if you are concerned about your weight or your health. And the next thing you can do to knock that up a notch the next month, super simple, try slowing down, your eating. Chew a little longer. Make sure you put your fork down between bites. Just slow it down so that you can process when you're full and stop when you're full. Start listening to your body and knowing when to stop eating. Now, another one, get out of your comfort zone. Now, this one's not a physical health challenge. This is a mental health challenge. Do something that's outside of your comfort zone. Try something new. Just make a point 1 month to concentrate on doing something that you wouldn't normally do. Next habit you can implement the next month is make a habit of changing something that you say into a positive. Let's say, if you catch yourself saying something like, you never, then stop yourself and rephrase it. Will you? Instead of you never, ask it in a question. Will you? Spend a month trying to turn your negative thoughts and your negative words into positive thoughts and positive words. Think about positivity for a month and start retraining your positivity. All right. And then maybe in October, spend time praying while you're driving alone in your car and when you cannot sleep. If you are the type that is on the go a lot and you don't really feel like you have time to squeeze in prayer time, but you really want a healthier spiritual life and a healthier prayer time, take those times when you're alone and when you're driving to work every morning, even if it's just a 5-minute drive or a 10-minute drive, that's 5 or 10 minutes a day that you're spending with God that you didn't normally spend with God. Or at night on it when you can't sleep, I love to pray myself to sleep. It's very peaceful and very at first it was just a way to get more prayer into my day, but now it's become something that I can't do. It's a habit. Every time I lay my head down, in my head I am praying for things that pop into my head that wouldn't normally pop into my head if I were too busy. But while you're laying down at night, sometimes a lot of worries and concerns and things pop into your mind that keep you awake. But if you get into a habit of praying yourself to sleep, that's extra prayer time that you didn't get in previously in your life. These are just little simple ways to implement little things into your life. Now, if you're also the type that want to start reading your Bible, but all these reading plans are really just too overwhelming and you can't keep up. And, they used to say read a chapter a day, and I would find that one chapter would be one verse and another chapter would be 3 pages. And, sorry, let me get a drink. And I found that it was hard to keep up. But I started thinking, everyone can read 1 page in their Bible. It doesn't matter whether you've read into the next chapter or not. 1 page, and then all you have to do is read 1 page of your Bible a day. It doesn't matter if you read the whole Bible in a year. It just doesn't matter. Especially if you're like me and you do Bible studies and you still want to add in some Bible time. Now, right now, I am doing a Bible plan right now. But if you're just wanting to implement something that you have never done before, and that is read the Bible every day, just try 1 or 2 pages a day. Anybody can read a page or two a day, and then you can add to it as you feel that you can. But at least you can do is read a whole page or two. And that's just simple ways to implement Bible reading. Now, the last habit I have is not what you're going to expect. The last healthy habit is making a habit of planning your next 12 habits for the next year. In December, there's so many things going on. It's kind of hard to tie in another physical habit. But in December, make sure you plan the next 12 habits that you want to tackle the next year and write them down. Now, if you missed the boat and there was one of these habits that you didn't get to this year, put it down again for next year, and implement it the next year. What habit didn't stick this year can be a habit you can try to re-implement next year. Don't throw out the habits that were hard to do and hard to get to. Just tweak it a little bit. And like I said, all of these habits can be bite-sized habits that you can just implement, bite-sized habits every month until they become regular habits. All right, guys, that is my podcast and YouTube post for today. Get started. It's still January. You still have time. And let's get things done and start implementing some things in our lives that will make us feel better physically, spiritually, and mentally this year. All right. Stay tuned for my next podcast. I do try to come back to you every other day. Maybe one day I'll make it every day, but right now I'm coming back to you every other day. All right, I'll talk to you later.